Welcome to Cocktails and Classics. This week we watched Night of the Living Dead, a 1968 film from George A. Romero. In today's episode, we have myself, Dylan, Cameron, Zach, and Ben. And to kick this thing off and get everybody in the right mood, I'll give us our cocktail for the week. A classic to go with our classic movie. And to go with our theme of revived corpses, the Living Dead, we're going to go with the Corpse Reviver number 2. So this is from the cocktail book, the Essential Cocktail Book, edited by Megan Krigbaum. She says, of the entire gruesomely named family of pre-prohibition era drinks thought to be devoted to rousing oneself in the morning, version number 2 remains the best known. A lighter spirited relation to the cognac-heavy sidecar, with gin and Lillet in equal proportions to Cointreau, this drink finishes fresh and citrusy with a hint of herbal complexity from the absinthe wash. Such a cocktail is a reasonable choice for eye-opening activities. If you heed the warning offered in the 1930s Savory Cocktail Book, 4 of these taken in swift succession will unrevive the corpse again.
That's fantastic.
And so to make it, you need equal parts gin, Cointreau, Lillet, and lemon juice with an absinthe wash in the glass before, or you can use a atomizer to like spritz it in there if you don't want to just waste a $60 bottle of absinthe on washing a glass. I don't have absinthe because it's inexpensive and I feel like I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, it's also a gross liquor.
Yeah.
When you get absinthe, you're committing to something.
You're either super hipster because you're like, this is what the bohemians drink.
Or you're
Or-
really efficient. Absinthe and
Sadistic.
ouzo, you're looking for a time when you drink those two.
No, if you're drinking ouzo, you're looking to not remember a time.
So I couldn't find Lillet at the store I went to. I used a Blanc vermouth, and it's pretty good. It's well balanced. You get the citrus, and you can taste the gin too, which I kind of like. I don't like too much like gin taste because I'm not like a straight alcohol drinker like Zach is. Or Cam with his old fashioned. Like 2 ounces of something with like a spritz of like sugar is not for me.
See,
It's all about the maple syrup.
I'll have
you guys know by now.
I make my old fashions very sugary. Thank you.
I am very, very much pro gin. I found that out thanks to this podcast. So
Yeah, my mind
We're
has also
changing
been
lives.
changed on gin. I would never want to drink it straight, but in the right cocktails, I think it's very good.
the drink I'm having right now, very gin heavy. Unfortunately, it's not this week's cocktail because I couldn't find Lillet Blanc at the first store I went to. And the second store I went in with the mindset that if I don't find Lillet Blanc, I'll just get vermouth. And they had neither. So I'm big sad.
Well, like I said, that store saved you from having to drink vermouth, so I'd see that as a blessing.
So instead, I'm drinking the lemon juice, gin, the orange liqueur, and I went ahead and threw a little bit of a spritzer in there instead, which makes it kind of like a nice
like a Tom
Tom
Collins,
Collins, but without the simple syrup and instead with a little bit more citrusy taste.
Now, after Ben had to make his substitution, we normally have a rule on the podcast. You drink 1, 2, 3 at the most of one of these drinks because we learned our lesson after the airplane episode when one of the cast members had to dip out for half of it. Or blackout, sorry, I said dip out. So Ben is actually committed to doubling his limit. He's going to drink 5 or 6 of these throughout the podcast. So if you happen to hear less of Ben near the end of this episode, you know what happened.
I will say the second one I made is easily a double on the gin.
If you make a Corpse Survivor number 2, send us a picture on Instagram. Show us your little fancy bougie drinks over here. Your pre-prohibition wake up drinks. And tag us on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod and use the hashtag Cocktails and Classics. We'd love to see your drinks. We want to hear your thoughts on the drinks. Do you make them? Are they good? Do you hate gin? Do you hate bourbon? We do a lot of bourbon. So we switched it up this week. If you haven't seen the movie, pause here. Go watch it. You can see it on Amazon. You can see it on HBO Max. Come back. Sit back. Sip on the week's cocktail, The Corpse Survivor #2, and enjoy the show. So this week, we watched George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, a 1968 film written by John A. Russo and George Romero, directed by George Romero. I think he also shot it. It's pretty low budget, except for when you look at the inflation calculator on what the budget actually costs in today's dollars. It's a lot of money.
They said it was a small budget. I thought it was a small budget movie. Is it not?
I mean, going off of IMDb, I put in whatever they had the budget as on there, estimated 114,000, and that comes out to
That's a lot.
like 800,000 in today's dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, $800,000 for a movie's not like. I mean, it's
But
definitely more than an indie movie for sure, but it's not
Yeah.
like
But
insane.
it's also
like,
an
budget.
estimate.
Yeah.
So like it might have been less than that, but Night of the Living Dead is a horror thriller film about a ragtag group of Pennsylvanians who barricade themselves in an old farmhouse to remain safe from a bloodthirsty, flesh-eating breed of monsters who are ravaging the east coast of the United States. It currently sits at a 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb. It stars Dwayne Jones as Ben, Judith O'Dea as Barbara, and it's in
And
the
others.
national film. Well, I mean, I have their names here, but none of them have gone on to do anything really.
That's
Be
true.
honest, neither did Dwayne Jones or Barbara O'Hara.
Nope. I'm looking at it. It's interesting that family that was in the movie, the wife,
Yeah.
dad, and kid. They are actually a real life family. Like the three of them are related.
Oh, are they
Oh,
really?
there you go.
Like the two are married. It looks like, at least. It's played by Harry, Helen, and Karen Cooper.
No,
So I'm assuming
no.
that.
that's their
That's their
character
Their
names.
characters' names. Dope.
Oh, never mind.
You
that part.
freaking potato.
I don't
It's
know
like,
why
yeah,
I
the
was looking at the
Coopers.
wrong side of the thing. We can pretend that it's like that though, because that'd be really neat.
However,
That would be an interesting
in
fact
checking-
That'd
because
be neat.
in checking some IMDb pages, the husband and wife of the Cooper family also went on to be later in the same film Santa Claus. CLAWS.
a lot of the people from this movie were
Ooh.
in Santa Claus because John A. Russo, the writer of this movie, directed that one. So
Ah.
Marilyn Eastman was the secretary in the 60s Perry Mason. So that's interesting. The TV show.
yeah, the cast is kind of like a mix of amateurs and professionals, and it kind of shows with like Judy and Tom. They are fucking awful.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be. It's a little blunt. I'm sorry, but like
You can say it
Judy?
again.
Which one is
they're
Judy?
not that good.
Hold on.
Judy was like Tom's wife.
Oh, you mean their acting wasn't good? Or?
Let's throw
Yeah,
this
no,
out
they were
there.
not.
Judith O'Dea was also not good.
Yeah,
I think
mean,
I think her character just sucked.
No.
I'll go the other route.
distraught.
Her,
I think intentionally her character sucked.
her sitting on the couch and like the whole scene where she's explaining what happened at the cemetery was so overdone and so bad. It took me out of the movie completely.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, it was.
I don't know. I didn't think that part was
I
that bad.
I agree a bit, Ben. I mean, it's also I think it's different because nowadays I think acting typically is more like natural.
Right.
But maybe they were like theater actors
Yeah,
or something.
we-
Maybe
we
they
s-
had experience.
We say that, but this
different.
movie came out in what, 68?
Yep.
We watched movies like, and don't get me wrong, it's tough to compare the cast of 12 Angry Men to the cast that he found for Night of the Living Dead. But let's not act like it was all theater actors by by almost 1970. I mean, the idea of, Marlon Brando's kind of method type acting that him and some of the other actors brought into like the 1940s. By 1970, I don't know. The whole scene of Barbara explaining what happened at the cemetery took me out of it because it was so over the top melodramatic. that was
takes
just
a little
like
while too.
extremely overacted, and I was like, "Yep,
I couldn't tell for her if I didn't like her. Well, I certainly didn't like her character. She was just the useless, like, damsel in distress kind of person who did nothing the whole movie. I think that's intentional, but yeah, there's some I mean, this type of movie lends itself to this, but yeah, there's a lot of like over the top, like, okay, come on.
yeah." My hot take was when we were talking about the budget on this movie, it was not spent on the actors.
No, certainly
Well,
not.
No, I mean,
was definitely spent
I was
on the
actually
effects.
impressed when they lit dudes on fire. I was like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to it like later, but like there were a lot. Like, I mean, can you imagine, like, I don't know, essentially like up to this movie, I think people were used to like going into scary movies thinking like, oh, it's okay. Like, you know, we can be scared, but everybody's going to make it in the end. Well, it turns out nobody makes it in the end of this movie. And also they showed things like eating flesh on screen, which is like insane for a movie that came out in 1968. Like a lot of those scenes, like they're literally like sitting there eating what they're purporting to be flesh. And like you said, lighting people on fire and I don't know, a lot of other stuff. Oh, and also having the main character, the main protagonist is a black man. Like that's crazy for the time.
Yeah, this movie was super gory for when it came out. Got harsh criticism for being so gory.
See, even with today's standards, I didn't think the gore was that bad. Like there were a couple scenes where I was like, ew. But
So wait a minute,
like,
are you saying today's standards are worse for gore than 1968?
no, there's
no,
more
I'm saying
gore.
the opposite. I'm saying today there's more. Like, okay, if you have a low budget horror movie today, I feel like they just up the gore factor by a lot because adding some like red paint is really cheap, you know. But like, but this movie didn't. I didn't think that there was a ton of gore. Like it wasn't
I
like
don't
super
think it's-
gory to my standards.
I don't think it's over the top.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Like there were some
okay.
scenes that were like ew, but
The way you described it was not what I took away from it, and I was like, wait a minute, what?
yeah, no, I was saying the gore wasn't bad by today's standards. Like the
Okay.
gore, like there's not too much
Okay,
compared to today.
gotcha. I thought you were saying the opposite at the time, so that makes more
yeah.
sense.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like, I mean, well, I should say, at least to start, I don't think, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I can say this genuinely, but like, when you first start watching the movie, it's not apparent that his race has anything to do with his standing in the movie, if that makes sense. Like, the plot's not about him being black.
Yeah,
It's
it's
about-
around him. Like the plot is, the plot is these people are locked in a house and zombies come.
Right.
But there is some not pointed out tension that he's a black guy,
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, there's definitely some, like...
which
so-
I thought
like,
was
yeah.
handled pretty well.
Yeah, I actually thought that was really smart for this, like, movie back in the day to, like, be handling these types of things. Like, there's definitely the, like, you know, older white guy who's like, I don't trust that guy with the gun.
Right.
I
That's where
need the
most of
gun.
the tension comes from.
I need him to give me the gun. I also don't trust anything this guy says. He needs to do what I'm telling him to. And, yeah.
Originally, they had written Ben as like a trucker. I believe
Yeah.
he was like a
Ew.
redneck kind of trucker. And then when they saw Dwayne Jones like audition for it, they were like, "Good, this is the guy. This is the guy for Ben." And then they didn't rewrite the script. He just interpreted everything to
Oh,
like how he
interesting.
wanted to do it.
Probably would have been better if he was a trucker, because then they may have just filled up that truck with gasoline and driven off.
Got
'cause
out of
somehow those adults were incapable of.
Yeah, what did he
Loading up
pull
what's
out
weird
the
is that
hose
he put...
on the gasoline tank and just start spraying it immediately? Like he didn't wait.
As
Well,
one does.
I don't know if that's... I don't know. I'd have to watch the scene closely, but it looked like it started spraying immediately when he pulled it out, which I don't know if is like... Like, I don't know if that's a thing that happened in the time or if he, like, just... If that was an accident
Oh, you
he
can do that
made.
now, bud.
Like, I'm not, like, you know, like, that was, like, a weird, like, gas pump in the middle of nowhere. Like, I have no idea if gas just starts pouring out when you unlock it or whatever.
It does, I promise. But try it for yourself at your local Sunoco.
But he definitely, like, pulled it out and started waving it around. He was like, hey, watch the
Hey,
watch
watch
the torch.
Watch
You know.
the lit torch.
Yeah, watch this fire and gasoline. That goes together, right? No, bad.
Well, I was like, oh, please move the torch away. Also, turn off the car.
Yeah.
Anytime someone pumps gas with a car that's like still
Yeah.
on them, it just makes me cringe.
Also,
But
can we?
to their credit, I mean, they're in a zombie apocalypse scenario, and they
Yeah,
also
it could be a worse way to go. Eaten by
Well,
zombies or blown up in a car.
I was more thinking along the lines of their adrenaline's probably going, and they're not thinking that much about it. Like they're trying to
Turn
they're
down
trying,
the music, you freaking punks.
They're trying to hurry up and put gas in the car and drive away without the zombies coming up too close to them to kill them. And they probably just made the mistake.
Here's the real moral of the story: just don't go visit your relatives at cemeteries. Just stay home.
Yeah, when it's
Good
3
point.
hours away, come on.
It's also like
they still would've
I
been
think it was their
screwed.
mom. I think it was their mom's friend, right, or their friend's mom or something.
No,
Like,
it was their dad.
It was their dad. I thought
Yeah.
it was somebody
Yeah.
else. Okay.
No, it was their dad, but their mom is
Wants
like
them
too
to
old
go.
to like go visit.
Go visit.
herself.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Just lie to the old lady. Just tell her, yep,
I
we
mean,
went.
basically, the moral of the story is don't live in the East Coast because there wasn't any zombies to the west of the Mississippi River.
Well,
they
that's
said.
because Texas, they had guns and they were shooting all of them immediately.
So the real moral of the story is...
Although the news
the
report
moral of
did
the
say
story
that
is
they were
zombies-
they were in Texas.
The real moral is that zombies are a blue state problem.
Makes sense.
And Antifa zombies confirmed.
It is interesting.
All right. Well, this podcast just got canceled.
It's really interesting to me that this is like one of the first, like, there have been other zombie movies before this, but this is one of the first depictions of zombies as like undead, like carnivorous creatures that want to eat human flesh. And like at times the depiction of them I thought was a bit wonky just because of the way they walked, like they didn't, like, it was kind of weird. But then again, you have to imagine like you're creating a zombie for the first time. How does it walk? It's like these things where you're creating a creature that doesn't exist. Like, how does it move? How does it, react to things? How does it interact with items? And various movies have had different interpretations. There's actually a neat chart out there. I don't exactly know where it is, but there's a chart out there that basically like plots there's like varying axes of like zombie quality, like speed, I think it's speed and intelligence are the two like main aspects. And there's a chart out there, which would actually be cool to link because it's actually really neat, that basically plots where movies fall on this chart.
Oh yeah, because if you're facing, or is it the movie 28 Days Later?
I would take these
The 28
zombies
Days Later
so hard.
zombies that like sprint full speed and are super fucking sketchy. I'm gonna pick these ones every day.
Right. They leap over cars and shit.
Yeah, so this one is it says Yahoo Movies on the bottom. But basically, Night of the Living Dead has, like, these are like shit tier zombies, basically. Like, the only worst zombies that are on this movie are from Shaun of the Dead, a satire on zombie movies, which is a great movie, by the way. And then the most dangerous zombies on this is The Return of the Living Dead, which is actually interesting. I think that's another Romero film, right? Romero?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I thought
No.
Return was like kind of like a spoof on this almost.
Yeah, I think never mind. You're right. This is a 1985 film
Found
series.
it. Return of the Living Dead.
It has John A.
Directed by
Russo though.
Dan O'Bannon.
It has John A.
Yeah,
Russo, who
it is John
directed,
Russo.
who wrote this one as well.
But that one's like a comedy like movie as well.
Yeah, but still, it says that it basically, from my interpretation, is this and 28 Days Later are the two like most dangerous zombies in any movie.
Dude, 28 Days Later, those ones are fucking spooky.
Yeah, those ones like sprint full speed and leap cars and shit.
But I will say, I thought it was interesting because usually I feel like zombies are depicted as like these slow moving, like kind of dumb creatures, but the zombies here, they're like interacting with shit.
Yeah.
Like when Barbara runs into the car, the one is like trying the door handle, and then he literally busts through the door like
With
the
a rock.
glass
He
window.
picks a freaking rock up.
Yeah, he's smashing the headlights.
So it's not like he's just pounding on it.
I mean, they're still relatively dumb. Like they're not like Yeah, they're not like stupid, like just like bumping into things. Like I don't. Where does it rank?
However,
I don't
they
see.
are
what's it
also
called here?
supposedly dead within like the last however many.
Yeah.
So maybe like their brain tissue hasn't rotted enough to be
They're
stupid.
fresh zombies.
They are scared of
fresher, the
fire
better.
though, so they're pretty much like Frankenstein.
Yep.
Yeah.
Classic Frankenstein trope. Fire bad.
I don't see this doesn't include The Walking Dead. I don't see The Walking Dead on this chart at all. I'm curious where that would fall. It seems like that would be on the fast dumb type of thing. Like maybe where the Slither thing is on here.
I didn't think.
Oh, that's interesting. They also have different zombie types, which is undead,
Yeah.
diseased, and possessed. Interesting.
the zombies from Night of the Living Dead as undead, but isn't it also caused by the radiation? Isn't that what they determined was the cause?
Yeah, but they're still undead. Like I think the 28 days later were diseased people. Like they didn't die. They were just people. It's similar to I Am Legend, where they're like diseased people and not like
Gotcha.
actual dead people.
Where does the chart have the tree from the Evil Dead?
The Evil Dead is on here. I don't know where the tree would be, but the Evil Dead are slow and smart, and those are possessed.
Is this the best Karen in history?
Which one was Karen again?
The
little
child.
girl.
Hard-hitting questions.
Oh, the
Girl.
little girl. I felt bad for her, obviously, because she came in sick and dead. Also, she has garbage dad, so, you know.
Well, I mean,
There's that
her parents' marriage has obviously been on the rocks for a long time.
I thought it was funny how they just threw in the line, like, this is why I hate living with you. I was like, oh, fuck.
I know. I was like,
Yeah, it was basically
Jesus,
like
savage.
it was basically like living. I know if you think living together has been difficult, try dying together. Like,
Yeah, I want to tell
damn.
you this is not the best Karen, but I can't think of a Karen off the top of my head to tell you that one's better.
I wasn't a fan of Tom and Judy. Judy was just like, I gotta go with Tom so I can get my ass blown up.
Yeah, I don't know why she went along with that. I thought
And
Tom
then got
was
stuck
fine.
in the car.
Tom was like kind of the more I feel like he was the most like logical and understanding of the whole group, because basically Ben would argue like when he first discovered that there were more people in the house, Ben was like, we got to stay up here, and Harry was like, no, we got to go down. And he was like, well, I mean, he was basically like, I get both of your sides, but I think we should stay upstairs.
Tom was the bridge.
Yeah.
Really, Tom was like the glue guy. He held the entire.
I mean, once Tom died, it really fell apart quickly.
The thing I don't get about Tom is he is the truck expert. That's known to the audience. He knows how to work that truck.
He can
And
work the
then-
truck. He can't put gas in it. Is this
Like,
when they had
listen, Judy,
attendance?
Ben doesn't know how to operate that truck, I'm the only one that does. I think Ben would have figured it out had he never seen a truck before.
I'm confused because Ben drove that truck, right?
Yeah, he literally drove
he
the
brought
truck
the
to
truck
the
there.
house.
There was something about a key and gas.
Yeah,
the thing
when he got into the house, he was asking Barbara for the key because he needed it to get to the
Right.
gas pump.
But then he ended up just shooting the lock off anyway.
Well, at the time that he went into the house,
have
he
a gun.
hadn't found a gun yet.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true.
Also, though, can we just say how easy it was for him to find fucking tools in that house? If I need to find a fucking nail in my house, it takes me half an hour. He looks at one spot and there's an entire tool chest. What the hell?
Oh yeah.
It is crazy that he was able to board up that entire house.
In like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how long he
went-
was there, but it
went
definitely it
montage
wasn't a
speed.
plot point for him to like have to find nails. Like he kind of just found what he needed,
No, they were right on the kitchen table.
Ben is who you want in a zombie apocalypse.
which is fine. I didn't need that in my life. That would have just extended the movie. I mean, not that I
Yeah.
thought it was bad, but yeah, it would have
It's
just
like-
taken.
I mean, it's a lot of exposition up until like the last 17 minutes.
Yeah.
And then shit just hits the fan and like everyone dies.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's creatures alive and they were once dead. And then we get to the house and then the radio turns on and we kind of find out a little bit and it's like, oh, there was a Sputnik thing and
Satellite carrying radiation, which makes sense.
yeah. And then it's like oh yeah, shoot them in the head. If they come near you, they're not gonna die. And then it's like, okay, cool, we learned about the things. Doesn't matter because everyone died in 17 minutes.
Well, he did. Yeah. I mean, that's how we kind of like get to the end, though. Is like Ben is able to, dispatch a fair amount of zombies, but then go down to the cellar and hide until the morning. And then
Which
And then just gets
Does
killed
that-
by rednecks.
And then the posse squad rolls up and is just like slinging their guns around and just like he like shoots this dude from like outside into the house, like from a far range, and they're just like, "Good shot, man."
But does that prove that Harry Cooper was right? Had they just stayed down in the cellar, they would have been fine. They
I
probably
did
all
see
would
that
have lived.
as a review point, but then it devolved into more racism, and so I was like, never mind.
Oh, well, no, let's not do it. And I don't want to take it to racism because
No, I know.
that's
I'm
not
just kidding.
fucking cool.
Well, I'm not
But I
kidding
mean-
about that part. But no, I was thinking about that because, I mean, if they had just brought the radio downstairs and maybe the television and some food, they probably would have. I mean, he made valid points. The main reason it got fucked up is because they fucked up the gas and they attracted
And-
more zombies, and then he wouldn't let him inside for a minute, and then they got distrustful and he had to shoot him. So it was just him by himself
Yeah.
against like a
Well,
horde.
And Harry just like, hey, here's an idea. Why don't we bring everything down? You guys come with us. We'll hunker down. It'll be great.
He did say
You have a gun. They can't get through the door. Everything's fine. But instead he's like, no, fuck you. We're going down to the basement.
Yeah, it was more of like a order. Although to be fair, I feel like Ben was also kind of like stubborn there. He was like, "No, we're staying up here."
Yeah, this
For
was
some
kind
reason.
of he really just kind of spoke for Barbara. He did not ask her what she wanted at all.
Well, she wasn't
She wouldn't
talking
answer.
at all. Yeah. He was trying to talk to her for like 20 minutes before that, and she was just like sitting there.
Well, and then once you finally talked, he was kind of like, "Fuck, I'm in this conversation now." She's like, "But Johnny has the keys, and we got to
Oh,
go
yeah.
back for Johnny." And Ben's just like, "You need to calm down,
No,
lady.
Johnny's
please."
fucking dead, bro. And then Johnny comes later, and she's just like, "Take me
Kills
with
her.
you." It's like, what is wrong with you?
I did see in some of my looking around that at one point they considered an alternate ending that Ben would live, but Dwayne Jones like stood firm and he said, he's like, I convinced George that the black community would rather see me dead than saved. After all that had gone on in a corny and symbolic, confusing way. Besides, said Jones, the heroes never die in American movies. The jolt of that and the double jolt of the hero figure being black seemed like a double-barreled whammy.
Wow. Smart. Interesting. Because, I mean, I don't know how he saw it back then, but yeah. Today is just like, I think I see that scene and I think, like, would he have shot him if he was a white dude? Like, I don't know. Like, if Harry had survived, right, in the house, and he came out and was, like, in the house, would the
Yeah,
police
that
have shot him?
motherfucker should have gotten shot.
Well, he did. And his arm got chewed
Well,
off by his own
yeah.
daughter. So,
But had he lived, do you think he wouldn't have?
I don't think he would have gotten shot. No.
So not only do we start with a female protagonist, and then it's like, oh, tricked ya. Here's the black man, and then
Can we just talk about the fact that the female protagonist couldn't drive at all?
Yeah, she like
she didn't have the keys.
Yeah, she didn't have the keys,
So
so
she
she was
just
just
crashed
driving
into
the
a
car
tree,
in
of course.
neutral and just rolled it down the hill. But
Yeah, but she didn't even steer
No,
it.
you're right. She did
She
not.
just
steer
rolled
out
it
of the
right
way of
into
the
a
one
tree.
The one obstacle she had to avoid, and she didn't avoid it.
we go woman protagonist, tricked ya. Now we got a black man. All right, now we're lighting fuckers on fire. Women die, kids die, kids come back to life and eat their parents. Kid uses a garden hoe to frickin'
Hey,
kill
you
her
can't say that
mom.
word.
Psycho, her mom.
Yeah, like this for 68. This
Yeah.
is fucking insane.
Yeah, like I imagine I don't know what 68 horror movies looked at the time, but like I got to imagine this is like a first for a lot of moviegoers. They were like, "Oh my god!" Like I just watched
Well-
everybody die.
Not only that, but you have all of that stuff, and then you have, the freaking zombie luau where they're just walking up to the frickin' truck, grabbing a piece and walking to their table.
Yeah.
Like
where
a
they just
goddamn
literally
buffet.
they just eat flesh. Like, and they just show them on screen eating flesh.
It's kind of gross. Like, you're obviously, it's like a pork leg or something, but you're just still kind of like, it doesn't look.
It doesn't look
okay.
Yeah, I was like, literally, I know I've said this, but like when they were eating it, I was like, ew. Like a lot of movies recently that I've seen that are gory, I'm never like, oh, that's so gross. But when I saw that, and maybe it was the fact that it was also in like black and white, but I was like, ew, that's gross looking.
It is 100% because it was in black and white.
Yeah.
Speaking from the person here who was dumb enough to watch the in color version, it looks much, much worse when it's in color. Like, it just looks like the intestines they're eating just looks like painted rope. Like, it doesn't look like real anything.
The in living color version, Jim Carrey was in there, and
no.
God damn it. All of the Wayans brothers.
Clown showed up at one point. It's crazy. Homie, don't play that.
Yeah. I know that the movie itself, like the acting, I thought was decent at times and not good at all in others. But the one of the things I really liked about this movie is that I thought it was actually really suspenseful, in general throughout the whole thing. Like, I didn't like, for a movie that established zombie tropes, I feel like it didn't seem like I didn't really know what was going to happen throughout the movie. Like, I didn't know if someone was going to die, if more people were going to show up, what other conflicts were going to happen. To me, it didn't fall into like weird, like the same tropes you see in like, the movie we watched last week, Halloween. Like, I didn't see a ton of those in this movie, which I really liked.
I agree with the suspense.
Okay, so are we going back to dinging Halloween for other movies copying it?
This movie was before it. What? No. It's not movies copying it. I'm just saying that I thought this movie was way more suspenseful than Halloween was. Like, when I was watching Halloween, it was kind of like, I kind of know what's going to happen here. But in this movie, I honestly didn't know any, like, I couldn't tell what was going to happen next in this one. Like, I had no idea, like, they were going to die while trying to get in the truck, gas, and then, like, that Ben was going to shoot Harry after he tried to steal the gun from him. Or, like, any, like, I don't know. I feel like it was, like, kind of on edge most of the time.
I will say all the actions that people take seem pretty rational too, because like as soon as Ben gets there, he's like, "All right, we got to board the windows."
Yeah.
Looks for a gun, looks for like weapons, lights the sofa on fire. Like he already like, maybe it's because he's already seen him when he went to get the truck and there was the whole explosion at the diner and the gas station thing. But like his actions all seem rational. Besides like Tom being a zany goofball with the gasoline
He's
gasoline
just trying to have
fight.
a gasoline fight, yeah. While Jitterbug plays.
Isn't that what models do?
He died in a freak gasoline accident.
But besides like that part, I feel like most actions seem pretty rational.
Yeah, I agree. One thing,
I guess like the mom going down and like, "Oh baby, are you okay?" And then
I mean,
like,
I
she
guess, but that makes sense though, because that's her kid, like that's her child. But like, that is one thing I do like about this as well, is that I feel like a lot of horror movies, they drive the plot by the main characters doing the stupidest fucking things that no person would ever do in that situation. Like if you get into a situation,
chainsaws,
right? If you get into a situation that's kind of scary or sketchy, and you're with like 2 or 3 other people, and you're like, let's split up. That is nothing ever, and nobody ever does that. But for some reason, in every horror movie,
taught me to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you not a Scooby-Doo fan?
Yeah, you shouldn't do it there either. It leads to shenanigans.
Great episodes, though.
Yeah, but they always got the bad guy.
But they always catch the bad guy. It's the best way they catch it.
Hashtag 420 blaze it.
That's what I'm saying. Is that this movie doesn't rely on the characters doing the dumbest things in the world to drive the plot. Like it's for the most part, it's basically things you might expect someone would actually reasonably do in that situation.
So this week's podcast is brought to you by Surfside Sips. They make high-impact glass straws. They're a family-owned company. And what's better than saving the turds,
The turds.
The turds.
I'm one of those people who hates using paper straws. Paper straws fucking
Paper straws suck.
I
They are
love
the worst
what
solution.
they do. I love that we're minimizing the use of plastic straws. I enjoy that. Paper straws suck ass.
They suck. They're the worst possible solution because turns out, guess what? Paper and water don't fucking mix, okay? I don't know who came up with it, but it doesn't work. Even though they put coating on it to try and help, it doesn't work. It just gets soggy and you end up throwing it away anyway, and that's just more waste. And so,
But you know what doesn't get soggy? Glass.
yeah.
Glass straws from Surfside Sips. And if you want to get some glass straws from Surfside Sips, you can use coupon code cocktails and classics spelled out. That's cocktails AND classics for 20% off your order.
And if you're looking for a business to support during this time, seems like a good idea. Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. But essentially what it is every month you get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from their monthly selection. So, Dylan and Zach, what are your experiences with Audible?
So, working from home nowadays, I recently used Audible to rip through one of my favorite book series. It's always great to go back and revisit some of your favorites.
And since we've recently done From Russia with Love, you could check out some of Ian Fleming's books on Audible. They have Dan Stevens, Toby Stevens, Damian Lewis, many great narrators. Read through Diamonds Are Forever, From Russia with Love, Live and Let Die. So maybe you want to get into the James Bond novels as well as the movies.
To start your free 30-day trial, go to audibletrial.com/cocktails and classics, all lowercase. Again, that's audible.com/cocktails, AND classics. After your free trial is up, it costs $14.95 per month. However, there are no commitments, and if you can't decide what to listen to, that's okay. You can roll your credits over up to 1 year.
As per usual, we like to have a little trivia quiz here where Zach takes over and puts us through the ringer so we can see if we paid attention. Zach, take it away.
All right, ladies and gents, thanks for joining us for this lovely day of trivia. I have, as you all love, I have 3 inflation questions for you. That is not true. I do not have any inflation questions. As a matter of fact, we're going to jump right in. The first question, you guys ruined none of mine, and I have some pretty spicy ones on here. So let's get her cracking. How many crew members accidentally set themselves on fire during the filming? Is it A, 1, B, 2, or C, 3?
Oh my god.
This is one of the spicy questions.
That's literally hot.
So we're talking crew members
members.
or cast members? Crew members here. Okay.
Don't go counting flaming zombies. It won't help you.
Well, I kind of, the first time it happened, I was like, did they just throw that a little too close and that's on that dude is just on fire now? And they're like, hey, keep the camera rolling while he puts this out.
I guess I'll say 2. No, screw it. I'll go 3. It would be funnier if it was 3.
2 people were set on fire.
I'm gonna go for the full whammy, and I'm gonna say 3 people set themselves on fire. They just could not handle the flame. Like a
I think
gender
it'd be-
reveal party, they just could not control the fire.
Is Night of the Living Dead just a big gender reveal party gone wrong?
Well, buckle up, ladies and gents. 3 crew members accidentally set themselves on fire during filming. 3 separate
my
incidents.
God.
3 completely separate incidents where they set themselves on
Oh,
fire.
Jesus.
I want it to be like 3 separate days as well.
Yeah. George,
God
do
damn
we?
it, Bobby, did you not watch the fucking... Did you watch Jim set himself on fire yesterday doing the exact same stunt? What the hell?
God damn it, Bobby.
All right, so that gives Cameron and Dylan each a point.
By the way, the director is also Hank Hill.
No. I would actually much rather it be that the first guy gets burned and the second guy walks up and is like, no, you have to spray the gasoline like this.
You got to do it this way.
Just
And then the
catches
third
on
guy is
fire.
like, George Romero's like, hey,
Oh, you guys
all
are
right, those two
idiots.
guys are out. Bill, we need you to step in and do it. He's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I don't think this is safe. No, trust me, it's totally safe. I watched two guys do it. You know, it's super easy.
The first guy screwed up. The second guy screwed up a little, so we got it down now. Don't worry.
And action.
All right, question number 2. During the scene where Karen Cooper is eating her father, what was the material she was eating made out of? Was it A, gelatin, B, a leftover meatball sub, or C, human flesh?
What was A?
Gelatin?
Yeah, real human flesh is for sure the answer.
Wait, no, that was the arm that we got from the morgue. Why are you eating that?
That's Jimmy's burnt arm. You can't eat that.
Oh no, step bro, what are you doing?
Oh, that'll be the Instagram ad. On this week's episode of Cocktails and Classics. Oh no, step bro, what are you doing? That's it. Just 15 seconds.
Gelatin, I guess. I'm gonna say gelatin. I don't know.
Just pair that with the video. Pair that with the clip of her standing over her mom
With the spade.
the gardening
garden.
shovel, stabbing. Oh no, stepbrother, what are you doing?
Attack of the Karens.
That'll be a movie that comes out next year, I guarantee it.
She didn't have the bob haircut, so
She was ahead of her time.
she's not a true Karen.
Real trailblazer.
I'm gonna say meatball sub.
She's like, Helen, let me speak to your manager. Shit. Human flesh is too much of a fucking meme answer.
Unless it's not.
She was never the same after that movie. She spent years in
Died
therapy.
years later.
I'm gonna also say a meatball sub.
I said gelatin, so I'm gonna stick with that.
All right. Ben probably had an advantage because he watched the movie in color. It was actually the crew ordered meatball subs that day and then had a bunch extra and didn't have material for the scene. So they just shoved, like, they would set a meatball sub onto the guy's neck and then she would pick it up and eat it. So
They had extra because 3 of the guys were in the board.
I was gonna say, was Jared crafty for this? He's got a bunch of Subway.
Oh no! You can't make that joke anymore.
No. He just likes Subway.
You can't make
Is
that
it-
joke
did he do
involving
something?
kids. You can't make
What
that
did-
a
what did
joke
Jared do?
involving kids, Subway, and Jared. It's not okay. It's bad.
So I mentioned that these were going to be spicy questions. That second question fits in with the spicy theme because it's a spicy meatball. Spicy. It's a spicy meatball.
Yes, okay.
Ooh.
There goes all
Wait a
our
minute.
Italian
Wait,
listeners.
hold on. Is Italian accents, is that also
No,
racist now, or is that
Chef
still okay 'cause they're
Boyardee
white
is
mostly?
still an accepted pop culture symbol, so it's okay.
Or Mario.
Yeah, Mario, yeah.
It's a me, Mario.
All right, question.
Wah!
So recap: we have Dylan in the lead with 2 points, could clinch his win here, and then Ben and Cameron
a
tied
punk
with a
bitch.
point each. I get the feeling we're gonna go to a tiebreaker because that's how this goes when Dylan has a lead.
Which means Dylan has to go first. Next question. Can't
All
play the
right.
game.
Question number 3. This one's tough. What day in 1968 does the movie take place? Is it A, April 1st, B, April 28th, or C, May 5th?
April 28th.
Well, all right. Dylan took my answer, but in order to try and tie it, I'm going to go May 5th.
I'm also gonna say May 5th. I vaguely remember something about May, so I'm gonna say May 5th.
So, in the movie, Barbara says, quote, they ought to make the day the time changes the first day of summer. The spring forward day for daylight savings time in 1968 was April 28th, making this the movie, the day the movie takes place.
Boom.
Yeah,
That was my guess on that. I was like, she says something about time change.
How do you fucking remember that? Holy shit.
no,
That's insane.
I also thought the 28th, but I needed to play the game. I needed to try it.
Well, guys, I've already done better than season 1.
So thanks for playing, everybody.
Good job, Dylan.
Dylan takes home a win, a season 2 win. Very proud of him.
I'm not. Dylan sucks.
I knocked my fork off on me. Victory dance did not go well.
I did have a question. This one is actually an extremely fun fact. So the opening scene with Barbara and Johnny driving through the cemetery actually had to be filmed last, even though it's the first scene to appear in the film, due to a tornado hitting the cemetery right as filming began. Closest without going over, how many dead bodies were uprooted out of the cemetery due to the tornado?
Holy shit. This is a morbid question. What the fuck?
I missed the part of this fact that made it fun.
I mean, the answer is, here's the fun part. The answer is not 0.
I'm going to say 12.
I'll say 15.
I'm going to say, I think both those are really high. I'm going to say 1. Close without going over. Suck it, nerds.
Cameron said 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're right, but I don't want to give it to you because you're off by so much.
Oh my god. Is it
The
like in the
answer was
hundreds?
200 bodies were uprooted out of the cemetery at the beginning of filming of Night of the Living Dead. To which George Romero commented, "Oh, are they trying out for a part?"
Good one, George.
That
is
George.
insane.
Oh, George, ever the scamp.
I guess I should have guessed higher. If they was going to pull some bodies out of the ground like a friggin' tornado, it really would have pulled way more. If the number's not 0, it's got to be way higher.
Now you're just somebody that I used to know.
Fuck, so deep. Nothing gets me
Leave
deep like
leave that
Gautier.
in. Leave that in so that everyone can feel as sad as we do right now.
Gautier and Coldplay get me so fucking hype.
Those of us who have seen this film, we wrote down our ratings based off memory and nostalgia. And now I want to know if your rating has changed or not. And season 2, Cam goes first. So let's hear it, Cam. What did you think?
All right, what did I think? I was pleasantly surprised. I thought going in that this was going to be an old movie that I wouldn't really like that much because it's in the horror genre, and I thought it'd be like really cheesy. And it was cheesy in some parts. But I liked that it was still had a lot of suspense. Like, you could still enjoy it for that. The acting was hit or miss. I thought a lot of it was decent, but then there were parts where obviously it was like not great. It's also relatively an indie film, although the budget is a lot, more than you would spend on an indie film today if you compare for inflation. It defined the zombie genre basically. Like almost all of the zombie tropes come from this movie. Undead, flesh eaters, shoot them in the head to kill them, afraid of fire, those types of things. It was campy at times, but I thought that the campiness was kind of offset by not showing the zombies a ton. As Ben pointed out earlier, I think a lot of the good parts of this movie come from the deposition between the characters in the house and not necessarily the zombies that are lurking outside. So I'm going to give this movie a 7.5. I thought it was pretty good. If you like the genre of horror movies in general, I think you should watch it. It's decent. It wouldn't be like my go-to for like a watching like casual viewing, but I think it was pretty good.
Surprisingly, as someone who typically tends to defend old movies, this one did not. It just didn't hit the spot for me. I don't know what it was. Like I said, I like that the conflict in this movie came from human versus human and not human versus zombie. I did appreciate that. That was a bit more interesting. That's something that you don't really as much see nowadays. but the acting at times was pretty tough for me to get through. I kind of wish I would have seen this movie in black and white. I feel like it would have helped with some of the, the effects and the things that look like they didn't age super well, but it's probably because in color they look just not good at all.
Yeah, they planned it to be black and white, because the blood in the movie was like a chocolate syrup or something. They're like, clearly nobody's going to see this in color.
Yeah, a lot of the flesh in that they ate was like super bright red and like did not make sense at all. So it, from what I saw, did not age super well. The acting was meh. I just, it wasn't my thing. I think if you're someone who likes horror, it's definitely a movie to check out. Watch the black and white version. If you're somebody who's really into like the zombie genre, this I think should definitely be on your watch list. I gave it a 5. It just meh.
I'm a fan of zombie movies. I really have to appreciate what Night of the Living Dead did in terms of creating the genre. Beyond that, this is not a phenomenal movie. This movie has a ton of parts where I look at it and I go, I don't understand why they did that. I don't understand why the sound is that way. It almost feels like mistakes. Maybe they were trying to do something and I didn't pick it up. But there's one of the key parts, I think, is when Ben is walking past the window. And it gets me every time. The zombies reach through the window, grab his arm, and it's like one of the most suspenseful, like jump scary parts of the movie. And the audio completely falls flat. It's like almost silent. You don't even hear the characters like struggling. There's plenty of cutaways to the zombies that almost look like the same scene where they're just standing around. A lot of this movie should be appreciated for what it gave us. I'll come out and say I think Dawn of the Dead is a way better zombie movie than Night of the Living Dead. But without Night of the Living Dead, you don't get all the other ones. So for that, I did give this movie a 6 going in just because I've seen it a ton. I think I more or less know what it is and I know what to expect. But taking a little bit off of that, I'll come out and give it a 5 as well because I don't think the movie was done very well. I appreciate it for what it is. I think if you like zombie movies, this is like required watching. Even though I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, I think it's like almost homework. You have to watch it to appreciate where it came from.
Like Zach, I love zombie movies, but unlike Zach, I do think this one ages well enough. I mean, it was made with almost no crew. If you look at the crew list on IMDb, there's like maybe 10 people that worked on the set. As some of you guys have said, like the acting is a little rough. There's a lot of music and the sound effects, like it's not mixed that well. I feel like some things are higher than others. And like we said, like some of the stuff is a little ridiculous, like setting the truck on fire, but you're not really expecting it. And then it like blows up. You're just kind of like, oh shit. But going in, I gave this a 6 and I'm going to bump it up a little bit. I remember it being a little bit more boring and not much happening than what did in the film. I feel like watching it again, I was entertained. It was nice to like learn about the zombies and like, oh, people are figuring out that you have to shoot them in the head, like the chief. And I do think it stands up well enough. I think it's a must watch if you like horror, if you like zombies, if you're interested at all. I think it's a must watch at least once. And if you liked this, don't forget to rate, subscribe, share us with your friends. Check out our Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod and use the hashtag Cocktails and Classics to send us your movie and drink recommendations. And as always, watch responsibly.